Welcome to another episode of Drunk Guys on Chick Flicks, the podcast that's crazy, stupid, in love with itself. I'm your host, Matt, and with me, as always, is your co-host, Garrett.
Hello, I'm Garrett.
So, if you couldn't tell by my little intro spiel, the movie that we are watching this week,
or like the title of the episode,
the title,
when you download,
or
the
when you
episode,
downloaded it,
it's gonna say
because it'll say it then too, is Crazy Stupid Love from 2011.
Crazy, stupid, love, period.
Yeah, from 2011.
Excited?
Sure. I mean, it's newer. That's always promising. The comedy's more relevant, I guess.
We also, this kind of, not directly as a recommendation, but when we did...
I picked it because I won the bet.
No,
I'm
that is why we're watching the movie, because Matt won the bet last time around. However, I feel like this put it, like, it's in our minds even.
In our lexicon. Is that right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So I've been told it's a really good movie, but also when we did, when we were guest judges on the Great Movie Draft, that other podcast that we did a couple weeks back.
Jackson, I think, had it on his list. Was it Jackson? I want to say it was Jackson.
No, I think it was Michael.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was one of them, for sure.
But he recommended it. He made a really good argument for it, so I'm actually really excited to watch it. He seemed really excited about it as kind of like a romantic comedy drama. Is that what genre is this movie?
I believe it's listed on IMDb as comedy, drama, romance. So
nice,
kind of all over the place.
Some tears, some fears.
Yeah, tears for fears.
Some jeers,
maybe some deer.
Some leers. King Lear.
King Lear?
I don't know. So 2011. Who's in this movie, Matt?
Well, it's directed by Glenn Ficarra and John Requa.
Oh, I know.
Do you?
No.
They directed I Love You, Philip Morris, Focus, and Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. That's the Tina Fey movie. Yeah.
Focus is that Will Smith movie with Margot Robbie, where he's like a con man?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's right. Huh. Well, you know what? There's a way to know. I'm not going to check that.
Yep.
It's written by Dan Fogelman, who you may know as the writer of Cars, Cars 2, Bolt, Tangled, Fred Claus. There are other movies too. The Guilt Trip, Las Vegas, and Life Itself.
This is the second Guilt Trip reference.
Yeah, what was the other one? I can't remember. I remember we got onto it. Maybe it was the director that was from someone else. Maybe it was the
director of Guilt Trip.
Because I don't think it was the same writer. It definitely wasn't.
That's the Barbra Streisand, Seth Rogen, right?
Yes, correct.
Like cross-country trip or some shit. Oh, yeah. Now I feel like we have to watch it. It's come up like as a cross-reference.
It's definitely not a chick flick.
What even is a chick flick, Matt?
You know what? I don't know. Who's to say, really? Yeah. Anything could be a chick flick.
The more we do this, the more I'm like...
Let's watch Flintstones, Viva Rock Vegas.
Yeah, that could be. An argument could be made for any movie, I would imagine. But I also, I feel like the longer we do this, the more I'm like, I don't know.
It's just literally anything.
It might be. Could be anything. I don't know.
Garrett, what are we drinking this evening?
Okay, so we're going to drink Lagunitas Hop Stupid Ale.
Yeah, because crazy, stupid, love, hop stupid. It's
they spell stupid differently.
It's STOOPID because it's stupid. I don't fucking know. It's a delicious beer. I know that. I've had it.
I don't get it.
Someone is stupid. It's you. That was mean. I'm sorry. You're not stupid. You're a very smart boy. Who's my smart boy? You're my smart boy.
It's me.
It's you. It's a. Sorry. It is a. I had this.
Isn't it like an Imperial IPA?
An American Imperial IPA. Yeah, that's exactly what I was looking for. It's 8%. Have you had it before?
I have had it before. I don't remember being super boozy, despite it being Imperial.
It's been quite some. It's 8%.
Huh.
But it's been quite some time since I've had it. I remember liking it, and I like most things that Lagunitas puts out.
Also, it comes in like a bomber.
Oh
bottle,
yeah.
So
Ooh, gonna have a bomber.
Let's get after it.
Ooh,
that does sound good.
Let's piss off our significant others.
Yeah. It's so funny.
I didn't even say this movie stars Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, Julianne Moore, and Emma Stone. I mean, probably a bunch more people too, but I just picked the top 4.
So I only know that from what Michael had said on the Great Movie Draft, and even just the cast made me want to watch it.
Well, sure. I mean, it's great.
Like, I don't know. I love all these people. Daddy Goss.
Julianne Moore.
But like Daddy Goss also.
Steve Carell.
Yeah, and then like Daddy Goss is still
Emma
in
Stone,
there.
really?
Yeah, Daddy Goss is going to be the overarching sort of...
I think this is Emma Stone's first appearance on our podcast, and I feel like there's so many movies of hers that could totally be like Easy A, probably a chick flick.
Yeah, maybe. There's no way for me to know.
I mean, there's probably a way for you to know.
No, we could never find that out. So, move on.
Okay.
Is it our first Steve Carell?
It's for sure first Steve Carell.
Is it our first Daddy Goss?
It's for sure our first Daddy Goss.
And is it our first Julianne Moore? Yeah.
I think that's in question. I think she may have popped up somewhere else. I had a list somewhere. I'll have to dig that up while we're away. No, you know what? That might be our first Julianne Moore.
I think so. Is there anyone in this movie that we've had in other movies?
Yes. Marissa Tomei. Second time for Marissa Tomei. Love her.
She was also in What Women Want.
Yeah, that's the other movie that we saw her in. Correct. I think that might be it.
John Carroll Lynch?
Yeah.
He was the brother from the Drew Carey Show.
That's exactly who that was.
Huh.
Good catch, bro. Yeah, I think that's it.
Did you just bro me?
Yeah, what's up, bro?
I feel like we're beyond that.
Come on, bro.
You can just say brother.
Garrett, do you have any trivia for this? No, you didn't, do you?
I have zero trivia for this. Matt, you're like the trivia guy, and I'm the couch guy.
Yeah, couch guy.
Couch guy, over here.
There's very little trivia that I could fucking care about this movie. Mostly just because I know very little about it. It appeared in... I'm sorry. It is the most liked screenplay from 2010's Blacklist.
Oh, that's... What the Blacksmith...
It's like... The Blacklist is like...
I just said blacksmith. I said the
blacksmith
is
makes
what?
metal things for people.
Yeah.
No, it's like unproduced screenplays that like... And it's like
right.
voted on by executives.
That's
or the Blacklist Files.
The Blacklist podcast.
Yeah, isn't it Blacklist Files podcast?
I think it's called the Blacklist Table Reads.
Oh, that's what it is. You're right.
And they actually like cast it. Like people go in and like sit around and
like comedians get in. Yeah, yeah, it's actually pretty great.
I think I listened to.
I know I listened to one with Paul Scheer and Manzukis.
I think Ken Jeong did one also.
I'm sure he definitely did.
Pretty fun. Anyway.
Apparently, this movie, the filmmakers gave away a free iPad to anyone on set who could come up with a name for the movie, because apparently they had a hard time with it. And Steve Carell has stated that he hates the title of this movie and would preferred it to have been called The Wingman, even though that's more boring.
That is far more boring.
But
I feel like this title's like enticing. I feel like I'm curious. I want to know what it's about. It makes me feel like there's some passion and fire in this movie.
I feel like it's a misleading title. I haven't seen the movie, so I have no idea. But I feel like it might be a little misleading.
All I know about it is what, again, like was described to us on that other podcast.
I remember seeing commercials for it on television.
And I think there's kind of like love triangles and stuff and like people doing kind of irrational things. So I think...
Isn't that just life, bud? Isn't that just life?
I think it's love, Matt.
Life and love.
Love
and the
is,
pursuit of happiness.
Life is love.
Oh my God. Getting deep.
And it's all around us. So.
Is it?
So.
Is that, Love Actually?
No, that's Love Actually Is.
All around us.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, it is.
It's exactly what that is.
Oh, man.
Oh, he really
I feel like by the
movie,
time
guys.
we stop doing this podcast.
Which will be never, when I'm dead, when you're dead, after I've killed you.
Are you going to murder suicide me?
No.
Yeesh.
Yikes.
But I feel like by the time we finish doing it, I will only speak in references from rom-coms and dramas.
Mostly Love Actually, though, probably, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
To
me, you are perfect. So, just want you to know that, man.
Creepy, just like in the movie. This movie also has 3 Oscar winners and 2 Oscar nominees.
Not for this movie, though.
No, certainly not.
Who?
No,
is it Daddy Goss?
It's Daddy Goss, Julianne Moore, and Emma Stone.
Steve Carell? No.
Steve Carell is the nominee. And, oh, no, I'm sorry, not Emma Stone. Steve Carell and Emma Stone are the nominees. The third one is Marissa Tomei.
She's a nominee.
No, she won for My Cousin Vinny.
She's a nom.
No, again, she won.
It's an honor just to be nominated. So.
For sure. I mean, yes, obviously. Obviously.
Thank you for having me.
No, they didn't. You haven't been nominated for anything other than Couch Guy.
I'm in here.
Number 1 Couch Guy.
I'm in here on the couch. So,
you know.
Do we have a bet? I have a bet. Shut up. So,
I have a bet. Shut up.
So, I didn't really have much bet-wise for this movie because I don't really know too much about this movie other than there's some love in it.
Crazy, stupid love, Garrett. Crazy Stupid Love.
I'm going to bet that they say the title of this movie in the movie. It only leaves you with one option. But
yeah, I'm going to go anyway. No. I was going to say no.
Now knowing that they had a hard time naming it, now it makes me think that it was less intentional, and it's so unintentional that it won't be in the actual movie. But
or they were just like, I don't fucking care. Just pick something from the script.
Could go either way.
Could go either way. Either way.
I'm expecting like a monologue from someone where they're like, I just feel this crazy, stupid love.
Here's the thing. If it happens, it's going to be from...
Like a narrator?
No, it's going to be... God damn it. It's going to be from Daddy Goss explaining to Steve Carell why love is so important. It's just that kind of crazy, stupid love that gets you out of bed in the morning.
All right. Cool. So I'm betting yes. You're betting no.
I'm
right?
betting no. I mean, mostly just because I have to, because you lost the bet.
I have a bet. Shut up. So, I mean, that's really it. We got the beer. We got some garbage trivia. We got garbage bet. But
it's a fine bet.
But I've heard this is a good movie, so I'm excited to watch it. We're going to go drink some Lagunitas Hop Stupid Ale.
You're stupid. Don't call the beer stupid.
I was on a roll.
Sorry.
Why'd you do this?
Why do you do this?
Why'd you do this?
I do this because I want to.
You always do this.
I do this because I want to hang out with my friend. I don't want to lean away from the mic. You're always doing this to me. I just feel like
you are such a piece of shit. You're always so mean. You're just like your father. So
my father was a brilliant man. My father was a brilliant man.
We're gonna go watch Crazy Stupid Love and drink Lagunitas Hop Stupid Ale. If you've seen the movie, keep listening, and if not, pause us here. As always, we're sorry for whatever happens next.
And we'll see you on the other side.
Dust off your 407s, cause we're back.
What's a 407?
They're the New Balance model that Steve Carell is wearing when he first meets Ryan Gosling.
Well, second meets Ryan. I mean, he's wearing it throughout the entirety of the beginning. But
they're like the very dirty white old dad shoe New Balances that he's wearing.
Dad sneaks. His dad sneaks.
Dust off your 407s. How was that? Was that better?
No, you did great.
It was the same.
I'm proud of you.
I feel like it was the
same.
I
need you to know that I'm proud of you. Which is like kind of a whole underlying theme of this movie. Dads being proud of their sons.
I'm not here to impress you.
So what are you here for?
I literally have no idea.
You have no idea. There's no way to know, really.
Yeah, I'm really sorry. You want to broad stroke this shit?
Well, how did you feel about it? Did you like the movie?
I loved this movie.
Okay. Loved? Like
loved. Like, yeah. Like, yeah. I would, like, in the same way that I loved Love Actually. I don't know. This is going to be high up on my list, I think. Mm-hmm. But broad strokes, how did you think? How did you feel?
I had a great time with it. That being said, this was not a chick flick by any leap or bound.
We can get into that. I'm just asking you whether you liked it.
I'm saying right now that I enjoyed it. It's not a chick flick. This does not belong on our list. I've made a horrible mistake. I've made horrible errors. Mistakes were made. I
disagree, but we're going to have this out a little bit later. Okay?
You're going to have it, and I'm going to be out, and we're going to have it out.
Matt, are you?
I'm so drunk.
Are you drunk?
Those bombers.
Is that what's happening?
Hit me a lot harder than I thought they were going to.
They were delicious. Let's get the beer.
Okay. We're going to get the beer right now?
So, we drank Lagunitas Hop Stupid Ale. It was 8%, but it felt like more.
It felt like more.
Yeah, I would agree.
I had a great time.
Man, it was a really good beer.
Delicious.
I had definitely had it before. It had been some time since I had this last.
Okay, though. Compare it against Lagunitas regular IPA. Because that's like the most standard that's around. Smoother. I think smoother.
I think smoother also. I think smoother. Slightly more boozy. I think that's like a 6 something.
Sure.
Really smooth. Really delicious. Something. The bomber went down
really quick.
Yeah. It was great. I
had a really great time.
Highly recommend this beer.
Look for Hop Stupid.
10 out of 10 would drink again.
10 out of 10 what? Podcasters? Men? People of millennial status, I suppose?
I just mean like if there were 10 stars available.
10 Garretts out of 10 Garretts would drink it again?
Yes, that.
Okay. Got it. You know what?
Yes, that. That's great.
Got it.
Do you want to do 3 sentences or less for this movie?
I want you to do it.
All right, so here Matt goes with 3 sentences or less for Crazy Stupid Love.
Lights, camera, action, Garrett.
And here he goes. Are we?
What's happening? I thought that we had a plan and that like you would go first and then I would go after you to show you up mostly.
I tossed the hacky's hack to you.
Yeah, but I have no hand-eye coordination.
And then you hacked it right back to me.
I wouldn't be able to hack it back to you because I have no hand-eye coordination again.
And then I just kicked it right back to you.
What are you, a hippie?
I knew you would do this. I fucking, you know what? I knew you would do this.
3 sentences or less. Garrett, go.
And I am mad. And I am full of resentment.
That's 1 sentence.
And I am... There he goes. All the sentences gone.
All right. All of it's all gone.
Didn't make sense to me, but that's all he's got. All right.
All he's dragged home from this movie. That's all he's got.
Okay. All right. 3 sentences or less. You ready?
Sure. I've been less ready.
Sibilance.
Syphilis.
No. Sibilance. That was my mic check. That's my mic check word.
Yeah, we said the same thing.
Syphilis. No, still. All right. 3 sentences or less. Julianne Moore divorces Steve Carell, sending him into a spiral. 1. Steve Carell meets Ryan Gosling, who teaches him how to pick up women very effectively. 2. Steve Carell decides he loves his wife and this is all he wanted ever, but complications arise because of how well Ryan Gosling has trained him to, like, you know, hit on women and try to hook up with women and all the other interpersonal relationships that are buried deep within this movie. Okay, that's it. That's 3 for me. Matt, go ahead. 3 sentences or less.
A dejected recent divorcee. Well,
I agree. They're not like totally divorced yet.
They're not divorced yet, but I'm going to use divorcee.
She wants a divorce. Yeah.
She asked for a divorce. Recently dejected divorcee finds new life on the dating circuit thanks to a handsome stranger that he meets at a bar. 1 sentence.
What? All right. Fine.
What do you mean, what? That's 1 sentence.
Keep going, man.
Handsome stranger teaches him to meet women and...
Daddy Goss.
Handsome stranger teaches him to meet women.
Handsome stranger played by Daddy Goss.
Handsome stranger teaches him to meet women.
Handsome stranger played by Daddy Goss teaches him to meet women.
I feel like you're doing this because, like, you want me to, like... Handsome stranger meets...
Handsome stranger Daddy Goss.
Yeah, it's going forever now. Anyway, Steve Carell meets a bunch of women because of Gosling and tries to move on with his life, but in turn starts to find his confidence like he was younger. Period. 2. This is
garbage. That was garbage.
This is because you fucked me so hard.
Okay, keep going. Keep going. You're fine. You're fine.
When he realizes that his original family was all he ever wanted, he tries to rely on his teacher, and the teacher is dating his daughter, so that becomes complicated in their relationship.
The teacher being Daddy Goss.
I fucking hate you. I was on such a fucking roll. My first sentence was gold. It was fucking platinum. This is a #1 gold record. I'm so mad about this. Go ahead, Garrett. Start talking about the movie.
The number of hand gestures Matt just made towards me.
I'm Italian.
Well,
leave me alone.
It sounded like 1 clap, but it was like 7 claps in a row. Wow. You know, I feel a little bit demoralized. I feel bad about what I did.
You feel bad about you. I feel bad about you. You should feel bad about you.
Matt. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I feel like this is the end of the podcast as
Forever.
as we know it. Good night. All right. So I feel like my sentences were better. However, I derailed you heavily.
A lot. Like you just kept going at me.
Well, if you had just called
It just-
Daddy Goss,
it just felt like you just kept coming at me.
But I feel like if you had just called him Daddy Goss, I wouldn't have really had that much to
So when
say.
the movie opens up, it's like maybe 3 minutes of like women and men like on dates
Well, the very first thing we see on that date, right, is Julianne Moore and Steve Carell, who are a married couple.
it's not the
Emily
first thing
and
we see.
Cal. No, they're on a date, and like it shows people's feet touching
Right.
and whatever, but it's at the restaurant that they're at.
Right, and then they cut to their date, and
And he's like, "Hey, you want to split a dessert?"
And he's wearing his beat up ass fucking 702 whatever they
407s.
407.
Don't
Sorry,
be an asshole. You sound you sound like an asshole.
Yeah, we're both buttholes, I guess.
Buttholes.
Buttholes.
I guess we're both
I
B.
guess we're
I guess we're both
BHs.
B-holes. They're on a date, and he's like, "Oh, you want to split a dessert?" And it seems like kind of this tired married couple or whatever. And then she like blurts out like, "I want a divorce,"
Right.
and he's crushed, and it sucks.
I mean, and I'm immediately mad at Julianne Moore.
Well, I mean, we don't really know the context yet, but I guess with no context whatsoever,
3 minutes.
within no context whatsoever, you're like, they're on a date and she's asking for a divorce, and he seems really happy and
Well,
you know,
I don't know if he
everything-
seems really happy as much as he just
comfortable.
seems comfortable. Yeah.
All right, you might be right. And then it cuts to their babysitter who's at home babysitting their two youngest kids, who accidentally walks in on like the son J-O-ing.
Yeah. Really getting after it.
And it turns
Really
out
enjoying himself.
It turns out that like he's in love with the babysitter who's only like 4 years older than him. She's 17, he's 13 or 14.
13
or
or
something.
14 or something. Yeah.
And we find out that like the babysitter's in love with Steve Carell later. Whatever, fine.
It's also one of those things that like after we're all like, oh, that's such a gross moment. He like comes out to the main room. And he's just like, just so you know, I'm thinking about you when I'm doing it. I'm like,
and also I love you.
and like the second he says that, me and Garrett are both like, oh no, you never say that.
Yeah, he dug it deep. This movie is actually chock full of like incredible honesty and incredible honest moments that lead to those kind of cringeworthy sort of feelings. I think that's why I liked it so much.
This movie is what happens after the 40-year-old virgin.
I know. You said that like 5 times throughout the
Well,
watching.
I just feel like you're calling me out for saying it so many times, but I actually believe it.
I don't necessarily disagree, but I'm going to want you to show your work as we progress here.
The only difference is that, like, Steve Carell's character in this movie says, like, oh, I met my wife when we were 15. Clearly, that's
as opposed to, like, I was working at a Circuit City.
Circuit City when I was 40. Right.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So for me, this movie, like, started off on such a strong note because it was, like, it was sad immediately, right? Because you see, oh, I want a divorce. And then they're driving home together and, like, they're not really talking. And she's like, just so you know, I slept with David
Lindekoff.
Lindenhoff, I think. Played by Kevin Bacon later, which is
Kevin
hilarious.
fucking Bacon!
Kevin fucking Bacon! Did I yell? Was that yelling?
It was a little bit of yelling.
So, but she like admits to him on the way home. They're driving home.
Lindenhagen. Because people say Hagen. He's like,
and
no,
Haven.
It's hot. It's hot.
Yeah, everyone messes up Kevin Bacon's name in this movie. It's very funny. It's a very funny recurring joke. But in the very beginning, Julianne Moore and Steve Carell are driving home, and she's like, I just want you to know that I like we haven't felt like this in a long time, and I slept with David Lindenhagen.
Yeah, she really starts to like break down and like reveal secrets that he doesn't want to know.
And he's like, if you don't stop right now, I'm gonna jump out of this car. And then she like keeps going. She keeps telling him like details about her affair or whatever.
Her tryst.
And this movie starts off on such a strong note because he just tucks and rolls out of the Volvo that they're driving in as they're driving, and I just cracked up.
Yeah.
And it's such a sad moment, offset by such a hilarious comedic thing, like of him just being like, well, here I go. Just ducking out of the car. I knew I liked the movie, like, literally from that moment.
It was, I believe, 23 minutes in when Garrett turned towards me and said, "This is a great movie."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And this is a 2-hour movie. That wasn't even 1/4 of the way through the film.
No, I know. I'm just saying that, like, sometimes we'll be watching a film and you'll be like, how long has it been? This is insane. And, this is one of those times that you were like...
No, nothing about this was a chore.
Yeah.
There were points towards the end where I felt like it might have been, like, logically near a conclusion.
Sure.
Where I was like, oh, there's, like, 20 minutes left. But I wasn't upset that there was 20 minutes left. You know, it was really... pretty great the whole time.
Pretty great.
Pretty great. So yeah, so I mean, like, were we still doing plot? Like, so the Steve Carell
starts frequenting a bar that, like, he's quote unquote always seen as he, like, drove home, but, like, never stopped in. And then he starts witnessing Ryan Gosling, like, just picking up these women night after night after night after night.
Well, no, right? It's more that Ryan Gosling sees
both.
him.
It's both.
They see each other, but it's more that Ryan Gosling sees Steve Carell showing up in his oversized sport coat.
Drunk as hell, being like,
hammering.
My wife left me.
Hammering down vodka cranberries by himself at the end of the bar every night.
Just yelling at whoever will listen to him.
About David Lindenhagen.
Lindenberry.
So, and then Gosling, Daddy Goss, calls him over and he's like, listen, like, this is pathetic.
How do I know all these things about your life? Because you've been projecting them for 3
because you've been
fucking
yelling
days.
them for several days. And he's like, I don't know whether to help you or euthanize you.
Yeah, pretty funny. Also, can we talk about Daddy Goss in that fucking burgundy suit? With the fucking...
Oh, in the very beginning?
In the very beginning. He's got that burgundy suit on with, like, the fucking brogues. I don't know if I just want to be him.
I feel like you just want to be him.
I feel like I need to be him.
Like, I don't think it's sexual. I don't think your, like, reaction to Daddy Goss is sexual.
I feel like I just, like, need to, like, wear what he's wearing and feel as confident as he does in those clothes.
Yeah, no, I get it. You want to wear his skin.
If I could cut off his skin and wrap it around me and just wear it out to the bar, I have a wife. I love my wife very much.
Wanting to wear Ryan Gosling's skin,
I love you,
and being married are in no way connected. You could still want to be a murderous weirdo and wear Ryan Gosling's skin, but also be married to your wife and love your wife. I love my wife. I just love your wife. It's fine. But also, you want to wear his skin. Anyway, so, like, Steve Carell meets Daddy Goss, and Daddy Goss, like, agrees to
take him under his wing.
Yeah, take him under his wing, and he actually, like, long story short, he successfully does, despite the fact that Steve Carell's character is such a nice guy
and completely, like,
opposed,
yeah,
avoidant,
somehow,
otherwise,
yeah.
Diametrically opposed to sane.
I had a lot to drink, Garrett.
Yeah, you are. Like, this is one where you are more than I am.
And it's a problem.
And it is drunk. So, yeah, I mean, Steve Carell, like, he kind of, like, fumbles his way through this they say it this way several times, like his Mr. Miyagi sort of scenario, like as though he's the Karate Kid and Gosling is the Mr. Miyagi of, like, hitting on women and picking up women and whatever.
Sure.
But it's funny, like, Steve Carell's first success with like, hitting on a woman and taking her home is when he's super, like, unapologetically and, like, actually accidentally very honest with Marissa Tomei.
Pat Morita is who plays Mr. Miyagi.
Did you just look up Karate
No,
Kid?
I just felt like you were saying Mr. Miyagi a lot, so I figured I should, like, credit the source of where it came from.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
I and our audience, thank you.
You know what? You're welcome. I tried really hard. Right then.
This was great. So anyway, like, Carell hooks up with Marissa Tomei, who is like, she's 5 years sober and whatever else. And he's just honest
That
with
was a
her.
really funny moment, actually.
It was a funny turn. He's like, let me buy you a drink.
Yeah, he's following...
no, let me get you something right now.
Yeah, he's following Gosling's, like, protocols or whatever. And he's like, let me get you a drink. She's like, no, I'm fine. And he's like, no, I'm going to buy you a drink. She's like, well, I'm 5 years sober. And that pause right after that was fucking incredible.
And the waitress comes over and she's like, what can I
No, get out of here.
Nothing, and never come back. Yeah. Thank you.
So good.
No, really good. So Steve Carell's character sleeps with Marissa Tomei, which is the second woman in his life he's ever slept with, because the only woman he's ever slept with is Julianne Moore, his wife, his ex-wife. His possible ex-wife.
So, like, great batting average.
Like, but, 2 for 2, right? He's only tried, to do so twice, and then here he is. But he gains confidence from that, which is, like, hysterical. So he like shows up at the bar the next night, and he's
there's like a montage after that of
him just being super, super confident and walking in and be like, "Hey, how's it going? You want to get out of here? Hey, how's it going? You want to get out of here?" I will take umbrage to that though. In one of the earlier scenes when he's like talking with Gosling, Gosling's like, Daddy Goss.
He's like, you don't give them the option of coming home with you. You just say they're going to. And then he's just keeps asking, do you want to come home with me?
Well, I think that was actually like just...
I know it's like in an attitude kind of way.
Yeah, because I think every scene it shows us with Daddy Goss beforehand.
What is his name, Garrett? I feel like you don't even know his real name.
Daddy?
It's Ryan James Gosling.
Daddy Gosling? Daddy Gosling.
Is James even his middle name?
I was going to ask you that, but I had assumed that you would look this up.
I'm going to look it up right now. Keep talking.
Ryan Archibald Gosling. Ryan Fitzpatrick Gosling. Ryan
Continue
Charcuterie
with
Gosling.
He's just a plate full of meat and cheeses, like some kind of an animal?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I don't even, Matt, you
Thomas. It's Thomas. It's Ryan Thomas Gosling.
Ryan Thomas
Gosling.
All right. So, I don't even know where the fuck I was going, dude. You derailed me so hard with that fucking Daddy Goss thing. You kept saying Daddy Goss over and over again. And then I realized that I was being an objectifying asshole of Daddy Goss just because he has an 8-pack.
And probably a huge penis.
And, like, those obliques, you know?
No obliques. More.
No, like, he has them.
Like
you and I have no obliques.
What do you mean?
Has obliques.
No, I mean, like, he's got no obliques. Yeah, that's why he
has obliques, because he keeps the core guessing. You know, he
really probably shocks the system. Like, he's doing legs, and then he's doing arms, then he's doing back, and then...
But he has somebody, like, sneak up behind him and threaten him with a knife, like, every couple of days. And he's like, it's just like his body's always kind of like...
Just like Jackie Chan. Just like Jackie Chan.
Is that Jackie Chan's workout regimen?
I believe so. I mean, that's what I've heard in, like, other podcasts and or magazines.
That Jackie Chan just gets the shit kicked out of him every so often. He's like, you know how I stay in shape at the age of 60? I get the shit kicked out of me every so often.
People just jump me from behind curtains frequently.
With knives or otherwise. So what the fuck were we just saying, Matt, with the plot? Oh, you're a terrorist. You're a distracting terrorist.
I'm a terrorist.
And I don't
We don't negotiate with terrorists.
All right. So, anyway, like, the plot continues throughout where, like, Steve Carell's kind of, like, learning how to hit on women, and he, like, gets very good at it. The plot comes to a head in two different ways. First, we haven't even touched upon Emma Stone, like, once so far. Emma Stone, from the very beginning, is established as, like, a law student who's studying for the bar, who's
dating Josh Groban.
Who is, like, a total doucher.
Just, like, kind of smarmy. Like, you don't really get a good feel of him in the beginning. But, like, you can tell that he's just doesn't give a shit.
He also, like, he's going to pop a huge question to her, and she's, like, so into it. And then once she passes the bar...
Hey, Anna Banana.
Do you want a job at my law firm? And she's like, I thought you were going to propose. And he was like, ooh, no, like, that's way far
I just need to know what's going on with us in the future.
I have to think a lot about our future. And she's like, ooh, God.
What we're missing here is that at the very beginning of the movie,
Gosling
you see
hits
Gosling
on her
hitting
hardcore.
on her hardcore. Yeah.
So that's one thing. That's like one plot point that we've missed out this whole time. But also, a lot of it comes to a head when Steve Carell and Julianne Moore have to go to parent-teacher night
Parent-teacher conference.
for
Yeah.
their son Robbie's. I don't even know what teacher she is, but they open the door and it's Marissa Tomei who's the teacher, and she
Hilarious.
starts. It's one of the funniest scenes in the movie, and she starts like freaking out at Steve Carell because he never called her back the night after they slept together.
But also, he's like, "This is my wife," and she's like, "Oh, your wife? Convenient. Must be nice."
Oh, so convenient.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of like when we realized, like, even though Julianne Moore had cheated on him, he has now slept with like a bunch of women.
Yeah.
And
I have a problem with this whole situation.
I get it. We can actually like talk about their dynamic a little bit more a little bit later, I think. But it comes out to Julianne Moore, and then Julianne Moore is like all upset that he's like essentially slept with all these people, and more specifically that he had told Marissa Tomei that she was the perfect combination of hot and cute, or sexy and cute.
Which, to be fair, he also got from
Ryan Gosling had said it, but it was also something that he had said to Julianne Moore, like
in
when
the
they
past,
were first
for
dating.
sure. I understand that. I do remember that, but like, it just seems like.
So to me, a lot of this can kind of be fast forwarded from this point on. Like that was like a turning point in the movie for me because she realizes he's seeing other people, and it's apparent to her at this point that he's gone through some metamorphosis. Like he's like kind of like gotten a haircut, and he's dressing a little bit better, and
from
he's more confident.
From a caterpillar to like a moth, if like most people would say.
No, I feel like most people say butterfly.
No, like from like caterpillar like into a chrysalis, and then after out of the chrysalis they came like a beautiful moth, like a
No,
moth,
Matt,
like a moth.
I feel like you're way off here. I feel like most people don't like moths, but like people love butterflies.
Well,
Like,
I mean, people
like,
really
beautiful.
love anything if you like talk about them long enough.
No, but
like moths, like they're beautiful. They've got those like beautiful powdery wings, and they've got like the kind of furry faces and the antennae. Yeah.
Okay, so I need you to know that you're wrong.
In what way?
Oh,
No, show your work.
You know, like about this objective
Well, I just feel like
opinion of moths versus butterflies. I want you to know that
they're mostly the same creature.
Okay, so I know they look like the same creature.
Yeah,
and I know
but
that,
like they're
I know that you.
They're mostly worms with wings.
I know that you think that, but I need you to know that I and everyone else think that you're wrong. So, are you gonna apologize, or are you gonna? How's this gonna? Is this the stroke? Is this the big one? I was about to just call out for your wife.
Amanda!
Oh, God. Are you okay?
No, I'm fine.
All right.
Everything's fine.
So that still was the turning point in the movie for me, right? Like,
yeah.
Because by then you realize they're kind of on an even playing field to some degree. Whereas I agree. Like, I know what you're going to say, and I agree. Like, she cheated on him, and she, like, caused this rift in their marriage.
Yes.
So, like, whatever he does, like, you know...
is not of any consequence.
Right. But I feel like it also, like, I guess for the viewer, it's like, well, they both slept with other people now. And within each of their individual storylines, she seems to realize that it was a mistake sleeping with Kevin Bacon. And
does she though?
She does, because she like swears him off.
Goes back out with him.
She does once she realizes that Steve Carell's seeing other people.
Right.
Then she goes back out with him.
Right.
But I think it's pretty apparent that she's like, no, I can't. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't love you. I don't like you that much that way or whatever. And it's very apparent that Steve Carell is only ever after her. I think that's one of the sweetest things about this whole movie, that it's like, even when he is sleeping with other people or like even like remotely hitting on other people, it's only ever about his relationship with Emily, Julianne Moore. Like, it's only ever about that. Like, he only ever comes back to it. Like, he being with other people for him highlights how much he realizes he should be with her, which is actually fucking so sweet and so good. And why, like, one of the many reasons that I thought this movie was so great. Like, they keep coming back to it, and it's done in such an earnest, cool way, I thought. But yeah, like that was the big turn for me, right? Like when they both kind of realize, like, oh, they're sleeping with this other person. Oh, they're sleeping with this other person. But they both realize it's a mistake. Like, and there's a bunch of fumbling points in them kind of getting back to each other, which I also thought was kind of realistic and cool, even though the funniest fucking fumbling point by far, and I feel like I'm skipping ahead quite a bit.
Quite a bit. But
Ultimately,
I'm gonna let you do it.
Ultimately, we find out that Ryan Gosling, Daddy Goss, is
Who?
seeing Emma Stone. Like they get with each other at some
Emma
point.
Stone eventually finds out that Josh Groban isn't going to ask her to marry him. She like freaks out and like
But
storms.
then she realizes that he's not for her. He's kind of a waste of time.
No, Josh Groban isn't for anyone. Let's be honest here.
Hey, banana.
Hey, banana.
Her passing the bar cake is just a banana with the with the scales of justice on it.
When he offers her a job instead of proposing to her, she storms out of the bar and like storms straight to the bar where she met Ryan Gosling, and just like kind of
Daddy
just like
Goss.
yeah, sure, and just kind of like makes out with him and is like just like, oh, are we gonna do this or what?
Right.
And then like
They go home together.
Well, there's like a long montage there of them getting to know each other. Like at first, it's just her being like, I don't buy into any of this and blah, 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 blah. And then it's like him being like, can I be honest with you? Can I tell you something about me? Which is something that he said to Steve Carell earlier. Never tell them anything about you.
That's actually totally true.
Yeah.
I actually didn't catch that correlation, but that's totally accurate. He also like, she's like, well, what's your big move? And he's like, oh, well, like
Hilarious, by the way.
I put on the song from Dirty Dancing, and then I have the girl run at me and I hold her up like, what's her name?
Swayze.
Jean Grey?
Yeah.
Jeannie Grey?
Jean Grey, like
Jean Grey?
like
No.
X-Men, Marvel's X-Men.
No. Rachel Grey? No, that's her and daughter. Who is the love interest?
That's her daughter.
Who's the opposite? Who's the love interest opposite Patrick Swayze in Jennifer Grey? Oh
Jennifer
my God.
Grey,
Yeah.
married to Phil Coulson.
Oh, is she really in real life?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hysterical. But Jennifer Grey, he's like, oh, I have her like run towards me and then I hold her up. I can do that move. And he's like super jacked in this movie. So like she almost laughs at it, but then she's also like, but do it.
But like, yes, please.
And she does it. And it's fucking hysterical. Like it's hysterical that he has this like rehearsed routine that he uses with women. But he also like starts to really open, like, so beyond her seeing like, you know, I don't buy this bullshit.
Right. That's when
she falls for him. Well, and it's actually great.
It's because he says like, can you ask me something about my past or whatever? And he starts talking about his mom, and then he starts talking about his dad.
And it's all really sweet.
And there's a quick montage there, like quick. And you see it in the same time that you see Steve Carell calling Ryan Gosling being like, hey man, where are you? I haven't heard from you in a couple weeks, and like that kind of thing. So you know it's been at least like probably like a month.
It also establishes a thing that I'm wondering since we first see Ryan Gosling in this movie, where like he's just always impeccably dressed, and like he's just out every night. And I was like,
he's got these fucking
What is he-
tailor-made suits.
what does he do for a living? And then you find out like his dad made incredible, crazy fucking money.
Do you find that out?
Yeah, he says that when he's talking to Emma Stone. He's like, my mom was really beautiful, but like kind of harsh, and my dad was like soft, but like kind of too soft. But he made an incredible amount of money,
I
which
don't
is
even
why I
remember that.
have all this shit.
Oh, I don't even remember that even a little bit.
Yeah, it's actually great. So anyway, like the Gosling and Emma Stone like romance buds or whatever, and then it cuts to what seems to be like Steve Carell trying to reconcile with Julianne Moore in their backyard, and it seems like this little ceremony thing. And Julianne Moore's there, and the two kids are there, and Steve Carell's there, and she's and they're it seems like he's gonna do kind of like a renew your vow sort of thing. And then she's like, oh, we might as well wait for our daughter. And he's like, oh, our daughter's right here. And she's like, no, our other daughter.
And that's when things start to take a turn.
This is the best scene in the movie in a lot of ways.
Also, it was slightly spoiled for us when we were introduced to this movie.
But also, like, so what was spoiled for us was that Emma Stone is Steve Carell's oldest daughter, who he had when he was 17, and Gosling is dating her.
Which is something you kind of pick up on in the movie in general, just because you're just otherwise it's like, what is this concurrent storyline happening?
There's
here?
no other connection between the Emma Stone storyline and the Steve Carell and Julianne Moore storyline ever. So you kind of do pick up on it. Like you're like, oh, like this must be
somehow
sort of
connected
familial relation or something. So she shows up at that moment with Ryan Gosling, and it turns into a whole
Daddy
thing.
Goss.
daddy gas. And at that same time, and a story that I think we've left out largely, is the babysitter, Jessica, who Steve Carell's oldest son, who's 13, is in love with.
And she's in love with him, Steve Carell.
She's in love with Steve Carell, right?
Which, come on. I mean, he's, like, fine. But, like...
Oh, he's Steve Carell. He's the most regular looking.
He's the most dad-looking dad
for whatever,
that's ever dadded.
Love is love. The heart wants what the heart wants, you know?
You're right.
So, like...
He's right.
The twist there is that she takes nude photos, and she's only 17, so that's, like, it's fucked, but... She takes nude photos and like hides them in her drawer, and her mother then finds them and then shows them to her father, who is Steve Carell's friend, and
who breaks up with Steve Carell when he finds out that Steve Carell and Julianne Moore are breaking up.
He breaks up with Steve Carell. Anyway, as this like reveal is happening that Emma Stone is actually Steve Carell's daughter, and Gosling shows up as her boyfriend, and Carell's already pissed about that. The father of the babysitter like rushes into the yard and goes to like tackle Steve Carell, and then the babysitter shows up. She's like, "Daddy, it's not what you think."
To which Ryan Gosling takes off his fucking pinky ring.
No, that's not for that.
No, takes off his pinky ring and goes, "Don't hurt my friend," and goes to attack the babysitter's dad.
You're off.
No,
You're
I'm not
base.
off.
You are 100% off base. This is the babysitter's dad was tackling Carell,
right?
And then Kevin Bacon shows up. Yes.
Oh, you're right.
David.
Yeah, you're right.
Hoffenboven. David Lederhosen. David Leidenhaven.
There's literally no way to know.
David Leidenhaven. Leidenhaven. There it is. I'm going with Leidenhaven. So he shows up randomly because he and Julianne Moore have kind of still been seeing each other.
Yeah, have gone on several dates.
And Gosling takes off his ring, and goes and walks up to Kevin Bacon, and he's like, you know how much pain you've caused my friends, and he punches him right in the face, and I fucking laughed so hard. It was
and
the
then
funniest
Steve Carell like starts walking over to them, and you think that the two of them are gonna beat up Kevin Bacon, and then he attacks.
He headlocks Gosling, like, "Don't you touch my daughter ever!" It's this whole hilarious, confused, mixed message. No one has full information, sort of like fisticuffs brawl,
right?
And actually, something that I liked about it was that like they're all kind of like beating each other up, and then it just cuts to the police there.
I also like it cuts to the three women just standing over them with their hands crossed, like, what the fuck?
Just oh god. And then it cuts to like two police officers with the four men like just lined up sitting down, like, all right, so who hit who?
Right.
And then what's like,
we're just gonna mark this up as a domestic dispute and just walk away.
Who's David Lederhosen? They're like, oh, it's Lederhofen.
Yeah, all three of them are correcting him.
Yeah. That was one of the funniest scenes in the movie by far to me. This movie comes to a head basically like they're after that, they all kind of break apart and they're all mad at each other, and it seems like it's all Steve Carell's fault because he hasn't compromised with Gosling,
which seems insane to me.
I understand, but at this point, it seems like the ball's in his court, and they do that in a lot of ways.
I'm mad about this whole situation,
but I think that's like really how the movie makes it seem.
How? But like that's my argument here.
Well,
like, how is it his fault that
like he pulled away from the reconciliation with the wife at that backyard incident?
He pulled away from her because she had continued to see the girl, the man.
Whatever. I'm just saying.
No, I know. I'm having a conversation with
she
you
had
here.
indicated that she wasn't gonna see that guy anymore, and he was just like, "Oh, your sweater was in my car," even though I think in the movie had made it pretty apparent that like she wasn't seeing him. And like I think his issue with Gosling, while he was just being a protective dad, like Gosling was legitimately, and granted, he didn't see the scenes that we saw with Gosling being really sweet with her,
the
and falling in love
endearing
with
scenes
her.
that
Yeah.
like them falling in love together.
But
right?
like that was him not approving. So I feel like, you know, a lot of it was left to him, and it kind of stews in that for a couple scenes, and then it goes to the son Robbie's 8th grade graduation, where he gets up and he starts giving a speech about how like love is bullshit and how he used to believe in love and now love is garbage. And then it brings us to the climactic scene of the movie, which is awesome. I thought it was awesome, where Robbie's giving a speech and basically saying like this, like love is bullshit. I used to believe in love. I don't believe in love anymore. And Steve Carell like yells up and he like stands up and yells, he's like, stop. And he goes down. And this scene is so fucking good, dude. He walks down to the front and he stands in front of the podium and he goes, I met my soulmate when I was 15 years old. I bought her a scoop of mint chocolate chip ice cream and I've never thought about another woman ever since. And he kind of goes on like it's a little bit deeper than that. There's a little more to it than that. But realistically, like he goes on for a decent amount of time about this, and it kind of cancels out Robbie's speech, and Robbie ultimately ends up saying, fuck it, you're right. Jessica, I'm still in love with you. I'm sorry you walked in on me jerking off, blah, 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 blah. And it's actually like the best scene. And I think it's kind of like conciliatory and like reconciliatory. He's addressing Julianne Moore directly and saying like, whatever the fuck has happened, I've literally never thought about another person other than you. And I'm sorry that it took all of this for me to tell you that I've never thought about another person in my entire life. And I loved it. I fucking loved it, dude. Like the movie ends, roll credits, fucking like they're in love. It's like amazing. I thought it was really good. I'm sorry I just babbled forever, but I really loved it. I really loved it.
Yeah, it was fine.
You're a real piece of shit. Who won the bet, Matt?
I won the bet again. Yet again, I've won this bet.
They never once said crazy, stupid, love.
I really would have thought that even though I bet against it just because I fucking had to, I really would have thought like Ryan Gosling or even like the kid would have been like, you know, just that kind of crazy, stupid love. Not even once. And you know what? I'm pretty happy for it because I get to choose again what's happening this week. And boy, do I have a doozy. I don't know what it is. No one knows what it is.
You don't know.
No one could ever know.
You still don't know. Do you want to hit soundtrack real quick?
Hit the soundtrack, Garrett.
Wait, actually, before we do soundtrack, were you like satisfied with the end of this movie?
Yeah, I mean, in as much that it ends cleanly. Everything's clean.
Okay.
Like the parents are back together. I mean, kind of. At least it's implied that they're back together. Goss and Emma Stone are
Daddy
together.
Goss.
Daddy Goss and Emma Stone are together, and they're happy. I will say it's a little weird to me that the 17-year-old babysitter gives the 13-year-old naked pictures of her to like remember her by. Weird, but also weirdly endearing at the same time.
Yeah, I would agree that like from an objective standpoint, that was a weird thing at the end. Yeah. That's for sure.
But also I would think that no, I don't know. I think that ends pretty well.
I agree that is a weird thing. Other than that, I think it ended up really. I think all of the moments of reconciliation between Steve Carell and Julianne Moore are really, really great. And I think it was really gratifying when Steve Carell finally shakes Gosling's hand, realizing that like Gosling's like actually
helped him in some way.
But he's also like in love with Emma Stone, his
of course.
daughter.
But I actually think that because of the way Gosling trained him to be more aggressive with women or like whatever with women, that it helped him in his marriage in the long run.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Do you have any comments about the soundtrack here?
No, I thought you were going to hit the soundtrack.
All right, so the soundtrack was actually awesome, but there were many songs that I had no fucking concept of whatsoever. So there was a song called Almanac by The Acorn. The artist is just The Acorn. Awesome. There are a lot of like montages and shit throughout this movie, and I feel like they play a lot of songs that were like, just like these little like indie bands.
Wasn't there Mike Snow?
Mike Snow's playing in the background at the bar, but it's not the Mike Snow version of Animal, but it's the Mike Snow song Animal.
It is Animal, right?
Yeah, but it's like a weird slowed down version. Shazam didn't recognize it, so I'm sorry. There's another band. There's another song called Loops by a band called Junip.
Junip? Like.
This Must Be the Place by the Talking Heads, which is actually awesome.
I didn't even hear that. Where did that come
Just
from?
One Look by Doris Troy. A song called Oh 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 by Say Hi. A song called Revenge by Danger Mouse and Sparkle Horse.
Ooh, Danger Mouse sounds familiar. That's one name I know.
Yeah, but like we don't know who these songs are. And then finally, the movie kind of ends on a song called "Blood" by the Middle East. All these songs were awesome. I had never heard them before ever. Like it had like a real
There's
specific
also John
soundtrack.
Legend in here. Save Room by John Legend.
No idea.
I'm looking literally. I just pulled up the soundtrack on IMDb.
But no idea.
Yeah, me neither.
So all right, we hit the bet. We hit the soundtrack. Matt, would you recommend this to anyone?
I think I would recommend this to everyone.
I think I would also. I loved this movie. I thought it was really, really great.
I'm going to go ahead and say again, this is not a chick flick, and there was a huge misstep here. Whoever recommended this to us was wrong. It's a rom-com, for sure. It's not a chick flick.
I disagree. And like as far as like
Show your work.
as far as I'm considering like quote unquote chick flicks being like I don't know, like rom-coms, like a lot of like it was a romantic drama comedy.
Dramedy.
I think
Rom-dramedy.
I think it is 100% within the genre. I feel good about it realistically.
I disagree.
I would recommend this movie to literally anyone. Do you think this movie died?
It's hard to say.
I think it's too new to have died, but I also think no, because I feel like I've mentioned to a couple of people this week that we were going to watch this movie, and like
people got excited.
Yeah, people were like, "Oh, that's a really good one."
Yeah,
like it had a decent amount of like, tugging at the heartstrings, but also like pretty good comedy. And
I was tugging at the heartstrings. I was miming tugging at the heartstrings. Yeah.
There's no such thing as actual heartstrings, right?
Well, I mean, I also know that there's no video for this, so like, I don't know why I was miming it, even a little bit. Maybe one day, maybe someday.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Did you have a favorite character?
I kind of love Gosling. I kind of think Gosling might have been my favorite character.
I loved Gosling, but I think my favorite character is Robbie.
I also really liked Emma Stone's character, though, too.
I liked her character, too, but I still think my favorite character is Robbie.
You really enjoyed Robbie. Every time he said something, you were just like, he's my favorite character.
Robbie,
he's my favorite.
Robbie was, like, relatable as, like, a young kid with a crush, and then, like, a young kid who was disillusioned, and, like, a young kid, like, watching his parents, like, fall in and out of love. Like, I don't know. I thought that was, like, really... I think Robbie, in a lot of ways, carried a lot of the more emotional parts of this movie.
My favorite part with Robbie was for sure like when Kevin Bacon was like trying to endear himself to him, and Robbie's just like hikes up the chair and he's like, "Listen, I know you like broke up my mom and my dad."
Well, he looks at him. He's like, "Oh, so Robbie, it's my understanding that you really like soccer." And he's like, "Hey, so David, it's my understanding that you broke up my parents' marriage."
And like hikes his chair up so he's sitting higher than them.
Fuck you, you piece of shit, you
piece of trash.
Oh God. Can I ask you another question?
Sure.
What do you think like the theme of this movie was, or like the
Redemption,
the message?
Spelt RON.
But really though.
Redemption.
Spelt R.
I mean, spelt however you want to spell it, but mostly redemption.
I think the message of this movie is like,
grass is greener.
No, don't lose sight of the things you love. Like, don't lose sight of don't lose sight of what's right in front of you. I think that is the message of this movie. Do you think there's like a deeper message that we're missing? Probably. Probably would be my answer.
I don't even know how to answer that question. So, yeah. So the answer is yes.
Like, do you think there's meaning of life stuff that we're totally missing there?
There's always meaning of life stuff that we're all totally missing, bro. Come on, man. Come on, man. You gotta know like what's happening out there is not what's happening in here, and like, where would you rate this movie on your list?
This is gonna be like top half, I think. This movie.
Scrolling up.
Enhance. Scrolling. This movie for me, actually, for sure, it might be top 10, Matt.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, go for it. Show me what you're working with.
This movie for me is going to be my new number 8.
So it's gonna go below Legally Blonde.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna knock Clueless down to 9.
Yep. Yeah, I feel really, really confident about that. I think this movie was great. I think it was like cute and sweet and funny. I think it like had kind of, not everyone, but it had like most point of views like covered in some way or the other. I feel like most people could relate to like at least something one of these people are going through. So my number one remains, I believe, Moonstruck, and then my last is still Made in Manhattan. Where would you put this movie, Matt?
Well, Garrett, this is hard for me.
Tell me about it, Matt.
Tell me about it, stud. It's gonna go as the new number 7 for me.
Oh, holy shit! So
Yeah.
you put it really high, also.
Yeah, really high. Also, I was trying to play it close to the vest, but I really enjoyed this movie.
You made it sound like I was fucking up just now.
I'm going to say, I still don't believe this is a chick flick. I don't think that this is.
I don't believe
right
just Friends is a chick flick.
I don't think it is either. And in that
still on our
episode,
list.
I also believe that we made that claim.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say that this is a new number 7. So that makes Spice World number 6, as always, because I refuse to make that any lower. And Pretty Woman, the new number 8.
Okay. Your number 1 is still
Devil Wears Prada.
And your number 33 now.
Made in Manhattan.
So
Still.
both of us remain
Yeah,
resolute.
Still Made in Manhattan.
Made in Manhattan is
Still
number
that.
33.
Still that horrible fucking movie.
Okay.
Well,
so we know what we think. What did Rotten Tomatoes have to say about this?
Yep.
My guess for Rotten Tomatoes is like 70% critic, and then like
I think people
80% audience.
I think people are gonna love this.
Okay.
Just based on the cast, mostly just based on the cast.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't appreciate your fervent motions to me, but I'm gonna bring it up right now anyway. And it's 78 and 78%, both on critics and audience.
I don't know that we have one where the audience and critics matched perfectly.
I don't believe so either, and this is pretty high, almost 80% on both.
So it's lower than I thought it would be for audience, but it's actually like higher than I thought it'd be for critics, which is awesome. I think this movie's great. I think like the acting is great. I think everything is just
really great.
Fucking grape.
Yeah.
Did you say grape?
I said great. What did you say?
I said it was really, really grape.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know that we're saying.
What are you saying?
Well, I'm saying grape. I'm saying it's really grape.
So 78 and 70. That's actually pretty high for like most movies that we've seen in general.
Yeah, that is higher than like we should actually like create a bar chart, like a bar graph.
I will, or a line graph,
a Venn diagram,
a Venn's diagrams.
Different.
Yeah, no, I would imagine
Still different.
I think that's it. Garrett, take us home.
It's still different. So, all right. I think that wraps it up. Matt won the bet, so Matt's going to pick the next movie. Unfortunately,
this
once
is getting
again,
exhausting,
I
guys.
know. There are too many to choose from. Is that what you're saying? It's exhausting because there's too many to choose from?
Hop
Okay, anyway,
stupid.
moving forward. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to reach out, we are at DGOCF on Twitter, DrunkGuysonChickFlicks at gmail.com, DrunkGuysonChickFlicks on Instagram. There's some sort of Facebook. You can watch us on YouTube as well. We're available on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and pretty much anywhere that would host us.
Literally anywhere. Just anywhere.
Google something. Google us.
If you just Google us, you'll
Also,
probably
like,
find us.
I've said this before. If you're listening to this, like, you already know where to find it. All right.
But like maybe tell a friend of where to find us.
Yeah,
Maybe?
tell a friend to Google. Tell a friend to use the Google, you know? Anyway, thanks so much for listening. You guys have been great, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much. Bye.